Well. Damn, I got some new pads for my headphones. Like, the pads that go on the earphone bits. They had worn down because I've used them so much. And then I got some new ones the other day, replaced them because I only replaced the pads because the headphones are quite expensive. So I just replaced the pads on them. And then I've activated noise cancelling on the headphones. It's crazy, man. It's like, wow. I can't hear anything. It's crazy. Wow. Just saying there before we begin the show. Because I was sitting here with Margaret, and here she is. She just lagged out. So I'm just sitting here on my own right now, talking about headphones. I was saying, but god damn it, this is so nice. So nice. I feel like that comedian woman now. You know that comedian woman talking about it? So nice, so nice. And then she collapses. Check out that video if you haven't seen it. Let's see if Margaret's back in. She just has to enable the audio here. Yeah, like, share, all of that if you can. That would be cool. Appreciated. Blah, blah. Playing Hitman? No, wait. Oh, remastered? Cool. Classic game, man. Classic. Jesus. My headphones have that ability. I want to hear it when the zombies are creeping up behind. It always a good idea. Eye stoking. I think I should reactivate my normal noise thing. So, so just in case the zombies sneak up behind me as well. I don't know if you can hear me there, Margaret, but your microphone isn't activated yet. You gotta give permission for audio. What's up, Pagan? Who else we got in the chat? We got Billy in the chat there. Billy isn't joining us today. He's not feeling too well. So everybody in the chat there, just give a quick shout out to Billy. He's in the chat, not feeling good, and I'm sure. Oh, Margaret lagged out again. Uh-oh. What are we going to do here? I don't know what to do. I wonder if she's messaged me on Instagram. What's up, Fire Top? Yes, everybody's showing up. Mark Rish. Hope that was pronounced correctly. Hashishins out there, Marvus Parvus. Okay, we got Crippled Cannabis Cowboy. Cool, I just made it. New watcher. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy the show. It looks like that it might just... it's at least gonna be me and Margaret, but it might just be me today. We have to see what happens here, everybody, but brace yourselves for that. Okay, it might be just some crazy show of random tangents. Well, I don't think it will be. But we'll do the proper intro. Anyway, shouldn't we? We should do the proper intro just so we're ready for that. And hopefully Margaret will drop in at some point. So let's do that. Yes, everybody, and welcome to High on Homegrown, the Cannabis podcast from PercysGrowroom.com. I am Macky from the UK, and joining us today is nobody. It's nobody. Margaret was here, but, it seems as if she lagged out at like 4 minutes before the show starts. We were just chatting some random crap, as we do, and then she just lagged out. And I was like, oh, maybe she'll make it back in time, and then she didn't. So hopefully she can sort out whatever issues. Maybe it's internet, maybe it's power. I don't know, but we'll find out. But as I said earlier as well, Billy isn't very well, so he isn't able to join us either. He's caught the flu on his travels, so he's not feeling too good. So send your love to Billy in the chat. And John is out there. He's got some family business. One of his family members graduated, so he's out there celebrating with those guys. Yeah. Margaret's made her way back in. That's very strange. Very strange how Zoom is working today. But yeah, congratulations to John and his family for their family member graduating. That's very cool. But for today, we have some cannabis news and events, as we do every week. And let's have a quick look at some of these stories that we have to cover. We had one sent in from Grumpas, which was sent into the to the Discord server earlier on this week. And he keeps putting some good stories out there. So if you want to read news stories throughout the week, definitely check out that newsroom on the Discord server. That would be sweet. But from Grumpas, we have this: exploring psychedelic medicine is a top priority for Trump administration, FDA Commissioner says. And that's on Marijuana Moment. Very interesting there. They're gonna, it would be very strange if they legalized psilocybin federally, but didn't do that for cannabis. That would be weird, right? We'll take a look at that article and get into the depths of it a little bit later. We got Jay Emmanuel-Thomas admits plot to smuggle 600k of cannabis. Now, many of you probably don't know who that is, because I don't either. So why would you? This is just some random guy a footballer, an ex-footballer. That's a soccer player for you guys outside of the UK. And he was quite good at it as well, probably getting paid a lot of dough. Decided to smuggle in a shitload of cannabis into the UK. Got caught. Now he's in the shit. So we'll get more about that story in a bit as well. Texas House passes bill banning sale and possession of THC cannabis products. And this has been coming for a while, it seems. They've been trying to ban all sorts of shit in Texas. It's not legalized out there. I think they might have medical, but it's definitely not legalized for recreational. And, you know, they've got all these loopholes and stuff in the background. You can get, HHC cannabis or Delta 8 and all that other crap. So yeah, I think they've finished a bill to try and ban the rest of the THC products as well. Unfortunately, we have this crazy one here: the acquittal for modern slaves found in cannabis farm, Doughty Street Chambers. And as we spoke about many times here in the UK, it's illegal to grow cannabis and it's illegal to sell cannabis unless you are a government friend. You know how it works. And yeah, they've found more people who are victims of modern slavery, allegedly. So we'll check out that one in a bit as well. And then opportunities abound in Canadian cannabis, but bud tenders, ... The headline leaves us in a bit of suspense. So let's find out what's going on with that in a little bit. But Margaret is back. Let's try again. Let's see if Margaret can join us this time. We've done the intro for the news articles there. So at least we're making some progress. Let's go. Come on, Margaret. Use the force. Use the force. Did she lag out? Can't see the room here. She's there. Just, it's not accepting camera and audio. Audio? Is it going to work this time? Come on, Margaret. Come on. Come on. Use the fork. Come on. I'm on keyboard and no emojis. I feel lost. Boo. Hashishin. Boo. Boo. What's up, Chilbert? Outlawed Nations. Who else? We've got Adam Bombs there. Irish Grower. Hashishin. Oh, there's the microphone. She's got it. Now she has to just unmute herself. There we go.
Hear me?
Yes. What happened? Gosh.
I did unmute myself.
Hello? Hello? But she can't hear me? Hello? Margaret's getting all sorts of gremlins today. Wow, what happened? Hello? Hello, Margaret. This is the most professional episode ever, just saying. Yeah, so we'll talk about the grow guides as well. For the grow guides this week, I thought, you know, we've covered so many different things. It's kind of difficult to think about specific episodes to do, and we got loads of little things that people have asked over the last 44 weeks. But we couldn't turn into a full grow guides episode because it's just like 10 minutes of discussion on it, and then the subject is covered. So I thought we'll bring some of them in today. I thought we'll bring some of those questions in so we can take a look at those individually and just run through different things like re-vegging cannabis and, you know, how long light cycles should last. And of course we have Margaret just said in the chat there, you can't hear me, my internet is fucked, Zoom keeps quitting on me. Boo, boo. Keep trying though, Margaret. You know, I'll keep letting you in until it works. It's all good. If you want to, yeah, don't feel flustered and stressed by it. You know, don't worry about it too much. If you can, cool, but no stress, no stress. Yeah, so we have some questions from the grow guides as well. And if you have any questions when we get to the grow guides later on, make sure you put a Q before it, stick it in the chat, and we'll have a look. I'll give it a shot at answering that. But I think that's everything for now. I mean, there's not really much else to talk about there. I mean, I'm sure there is. Sure there is lots to talk about, but you know what I'm like. I could talk about anything for fucking ages. Just go on about loads of stuff. And we're making lots of AI music this week. We have a thread now in the forum for other people who are also making AI music. Us degenerates. Just, you know, just trying to make music with AI. It's very frowned upon, it seems. Yeah, Margaret came back in there as well. I think she just keeps flicking in and out. I think it's internet issues, probably. Bandwidth issues. Ballista's out there. What's up, Ballista? What's up, man? The Mouse Chronic has arrived. Oh, we heard something. Hello. Hello. Yeah, it's not working. It's not working.
Fine.
Oh, there we go. No. Jesus. Go and restart your modem, Margaret. Try that. Just restart your modem. We'll come back in 5 minutes. Give that a shot. 'Cause that's what works for me sometimes. Sometimes you gotta just go and reset the modem, turn it off for a couple of minutes, and then turn it back on again, and hopefully it works out. What about this fucking weird weather in the UK? We had some weird weather in the UK. I haven't. I tell you, that talk about weird weather. I mean, my boy wanted to go camping, so he went out and bought a tent, some camping beds, sleeping bags. And we camped in the back garden yesterday, just for some practice for him. I don't want to take him out somewhere to a campsite just yet because, he's still new to camping. But he likes this kind of thing. And I used to do a lot of camping when I was a kid, but that was like 20 years ago, right? Since then, I've had the luxury of Temper mattresses, so I don't really like sleeping on camp beds. But I'm like, yeah, man, we'll do this. We'll go and do some camping in the back garden. Oh, goddamn. You just don't realize how much you're spoiled by creature comforts until you go back camping again. And I'm sleeping on this goddamn camp bed. Oh, God, it was so bad. It was so bad. I just had to go to the house like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was about 5:15. I just couldn't sleep, and I just I had to go back into my Temper mattress. Yeah, I mean, but I want to go out and find an actual camping site, and I'll probably just sleep on the floor then, because my back garden's all concrete, so it's not like it got grass at the back, but it's mainly just slabs. So it's not like I could sleep on the floor in a tent to be comfortable. That's fucked. But I could do it on the grass. It wouldn't be so bad then. But I'm not sleeping on that camping bed again. That was ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Gosh. Yeah, now my back's fucked. And I had about 3 hours sleep last night. So that's a bit shit as well. But, it was good times. He had a great time. So we went out today and I bought one of those camping stoves as well. So we could do some camping and cook some stuff next time. So that's the plan. Sometime in the week, I think, gonna go and do some camping with the boy. Sounds fun, right? Sounds fun. Yeah, I do acid and stay up all night. Yeah, that's a good plan, Hashishin. But I can't be doing that when I have to look after the boy as well. I have to keep my mind in check. But yeah, man. Well, good times, good times. Yeah, camping, it's kind of fun, and it's just the people you spend it with, really. That's what makes it fun. But next time we're gonna go out, gonna have a fire, because I taught him how to set a fire with just flint and steel and some cotton wool, and he managed to set a fire a couple of times now. He's done that. It's very cool, and he's got his own flint and steel now as well. He's proper into that kind of bushcraft kind of stuff. He likes that. So next time we're gonna go out and we're gonna cook. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna cook on a fire. Good times. But for now, that's everything. That's the only random tangent we're doing before the news starts, all right? Because now we're going to get on the news, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more random tangents because there's nobody here to keep me in check. So, yeah, dark skies areas, another tangent. That's the plan, Hashish, and that's the plan. Because you can't really camp in England. You're not allowed to just go somewhere and camp. But you can go do astronomy and have a tent, can't I? You know what I mean? So I said I'm going to have a look and see when the next good meteor shower is. And then we can just go out, set up the tent, take the telescope, and we can't have a fire then because we want to have dark skies and good eyes, So we won't have the fire when we take the telescope out. But that's the plan: to go out somewhere really dark, drive for a couple of hours, maybe go down to Snowdonia or the Lake District or something, and set up the camp there. That'd be fucking sweet, But imagine driving out there, and it just rains all night. You don't even get a chance to see the sky. Piss take. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway. With that, should we talk about some news? We can talk about some camping tangents when we get to the smoke break, because we've also got a spin to do for the plant in the month as well. But for now, let's talk about some news. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to begin with, I do have it already on the screen here. We're going to talk about this one which Grumpas sent in. And thanks again to Grumpas, just for sending in all these news articles and for being the legend that he is. I like Grumpas. He's a good guy. So let's take a look. Let's read through some of this. And I'm not sure if any of you are aware, but I'm a little fan of psilocybin. It's not like I take it daily or anything, but a few times a year I like to indulge in just a small amount of psychedelics and, have a little spiritual journey. I like that kind of thing. So we have here, exploring psychedelic medicine is a top priority for Trump administration, FDA Commissioner says, allegedly. The head of Food and Drug Administration, FDA, says exploring the therapeutic potential of psychedelics such as psilocybin and ibogaine is a top priority for the Trump administration, especially when it comes to helping military veterans grapple with trauma from being sent to fight unnecessary wars. Wow, that's framed in a particular way. There appears to be strong momentum behind the push for psychedelic therapies access at top levels of the administration, and FDA Commissioner Marty Macky new comments emphasizing the need to cut the red tape while undertaking an expedition and rapid review, in quotes that was, towards federal approval is one of the latest examples. When it comes to some of these psychedelics and other plant-based therapies, I don't think we're listening to the patients, he said during an interview with News Nation that aired on Saturday. In quotes again, I don't think the medical establishment is listening to doctors. When I listen to the individuals who have tried some of these for real medical conditions, post-traumatic stress disorder, severe refractory depression, people tell me that they believe that psilocybin was successful. It was a curative or significantly helped their severe mood disorders. End quote. Start another quote. People have told me that other psychedelics like MDMA have been helpful in treating PTSD. And yeah, come on. MDMA. Jesus. They call it the love drug for a reason. My gosh. Macky said, ibogaine has been used to treat PTSD. Now, this one, I'm not sure about ibogaine. It seems to be reasonably new. I've only heard about it a few times, but it seems to be very powerful and very successful as well with people who have PTSD and different types of trauma and addiction as well. It's like people take this stuff and then the addiction stops and shit like that. It seems to be quite promising, but I don't know too much about it, so I won't talk about it too much. There are trials now looking at it for traumatic brain injury, things we have nothing for in the past. We had to treat traumatic brain injury and PTSD that has already had great results up until this time. I don't know what that means. I think I read it wrong. The commissioner stressed that he's not necessarily endorsing plant-based medicine at this stage because he would get fired by the pharmaceutical company that has lobbied to keep him very rich. It doesn't say that. That's just my interpretation. I'll go back. The commissioner stressed that he's not necessarily endorsing plant-based medicine at this stage because he wants to first ensure FDA collects data demonstrating their efficacy. But, in quotes, we have to listen to the doctors who have these experiences, and this is one of our top priorities at the FDA, to listen to doctors, to listen to patients, and to make sure we don't get in the way with red tape. There's a lot of quotes in this. This guy just spoke. It's like this must be like an audio interview that's been written down. And yeah, Benny Benny in the chat said the isolate of iboga. That sounds a strange thing to say. Yeah, so it's an isolate of a natural thing. I think I'm not. As I said, I'm not too sure about it. Take a look at something that can tell you more about that than I can. We want to do proper independent evaluations, but we've got to do it quickly because many young Americans have signed up to serve for their country and were sent unnecessary wars, and they were hurt badly, and we owe it to them to do everything possible to try and seek out what might help them. And just, I don't know if it says this in the article, but I've seen crazy things like there's been more veterans from these, the Gulf Wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, these kind of wars. There'll be more people who have died from, unaliving themselves, they call it on YouTube, otherwise you get banned, than died in actual combat. It's like people suffer so much PTSD, and, the fact that a lot of these wars seem as if they were just unneeded and unjust. So people come back and they're like, what were we even fighting for? What have I done? and they have trouble dealing with that, and apparently some of these psychedelics can help with that kind of thing, and hopefully it can, because that's just a crazy statistic to know that people are dying more when they get back home than they are out on the war, on the battlefield. That's crazy shit, man. Where was I? Might help them. He said suggesting psychedelic medicine could help the veteran community in which there's high rates of serious mental health disorders. So this is a top priority for the FDA and this administration. Asked why he thinks psychedelics remain strictly prohibited under federal law, giving emerging evidence of their medical potential, he said that we have to take a hard look at everything. I think everything needs to be on the table. I think we need to look at how we evaluate and consider these medications. There are ongoing clinical trials that are going to read out sometime soon, and we have to take an expeditious and rapid review of that data, Macky said. We can't say, well, our normal process is that it takes a year to give a good look at data. We've got a crisis on our hands right now, and I don't think if these medicines end up showing clinical benefit in their trials, I don't think it's a silver bullet, but we owe it to the people who are suffering to do everything we can as a government to get to the decision on the results as soon as they're available. As FDA Commissioner, Macky is uniquely positioned to advance the issue by promoting research, facilitating approvals and new drug applications for psychedelics, and taking steps to reschedule substances such as psilocybin and MDMA. And ketamine is probably in there as well. They speak about that a lot, and they use that for a lot of these therapeutic uses as well. So ketamine is quite a popular one. Under the Biden administration, there was stepped up interest in examining certain psychedelics with novel guidance for researchers from FDA in pursuit of potential approvals, but the agency ultimately rejected an application to make MDMA-assisted therapy available for the treatment of PTSD. Madness. The current commissioner remarks also came in the context of a meaningful shift on psychedelic policy with the administration, with the secretaries of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, the VA, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the HHS, that oversees FDA, also having expressed support for exploring the issue. President Donald Trump, recent pick for U.S. Surgeon General, has previously described her personal experience benefiting from psilocybin. Last week, the VA's Secretary Doug Collins touted the fact that he's one of the first secretaries of the agency with a commitment to exploring psychedelics as a potential therapy option for veterans. What we're seeing, this is in quotes, what we're seeing so far in some of the studies that are related to VA and also outside of VA as well, he told lawmakers during the House committee hearing, is that there has been, especially when it comes to PTSD and also traumatic brain injuries and others, we're seeing some actual positive outcomes there, especially when it's coupled with intense counselling. And I think that's the one of the keys that we are looking forward to. President Donald Trump's pick to serve as the next Surgeon General, Cassie Means, has been public about her own experiences benefiting from psilocybin. This goes on for a bit. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. I mean, you can go and read the rest of the article over at marijuanamoment.net. Definitely check out their site. They always have good news, report on them quite a bit. But this seems quite promising. You know, there's lots of people in the administration there in different positions that are looking forward. Macky was getting started in this article. Not really. It's just that it just goes long sometimes, you know. We get the message within the first few paragraphs and then just read into finer details. And sometimes there's more stuff that pops up as we read through it. But a good article with some good news. But will anything come from it? We hear all this kind of stuff all the time, you know. Like, yeah, they're going to do something. It's all good. They're figuring it out. It's for the veterans. It's all... But that don't mean shit. You know, these politicians, man. They're not going to do what's best for us. They're going to have a look, and then if their pharmaceutical buddies come along, allegedly, and be like, oh, no, here's $1 million for your next campaign. Don't be doing nothing about that. Leave that devil's psilocybin over there for the druggies. That's what they'll do. You know, and then it's not going to be done. Nothing's going to be done about it. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's disgusting. This should have been done a long time ago. It shouldn't even be made illegal in the first place. But this is the world we live in, isn't it? Hopefully, we're going to see some steps forward, though. So it's not all bad. At least that's a little bit of good news. But again, you just got to remain skeptical. You got to stay a little bit pessimistic, I think, because otherwise, you get your hopes up and you just get crashed down. We've been here loads of times, everybody. So yeah, let's not get our hopes up just yet, unfortunately. So we got another crazy one here from the UK. I say another crazy one, but we haven't covered one yet from the UK. But, you know, we do, and they're always fucking crazy. You know, so let's take a look at this one. Acquittal for modern slaves found in cannabis farm. Okay, following an 8-day trial in some place, Crown Court, Louis Willock. Wow, is that a typo? Louise. It's got to be Wilcox, but spelt wrong. Surely, because the spelling here, for those who are not seeing it on the screen, is Willocx. So that has to be a typo, surely, right? Let me know in the chat. You think that's a typo? Or you think their name is Willox? That works slightly, doesn't it? Willox. Anyway, this Louise, persuaded the jury that her client had been forced to work in a cannabis farm as victims of modern slavery, leading to his acquittal for being involved in the production of cannabis. Louise's client and his co-defendant were Vietnamese men who had been trafficked into the UK. After having worked for years without pay on UK construction sites, with their smugglers holding them in debt bondage, they were brought to a cannabis farm near Aylesbury. They were locked up in truly degrading circumstances, monitored with cameras, threatened with violence, and forced to cultivate cannabis without receiving any pay. In cross-examination, Louise laid bare the police's failure to conduct any investigations into the organised crime group that exploited her client and to investigate his modern slavery claims. The police officer then admitted that they did not investigate this because there are rarely any cannabis farms which are not characterised by the brutality of the drug world. Having taken the jury carefully through how the modern slavery defence applied to her client, the jury acquitted both men in less than 2 hours. Louise was instructed by Ashley Tibble from ABV Solicitors. Okay, and that's it. Just a quick article there, and it's a shit one because anybody can use that excuse, really. You know, and were they modern day slaves? I mean, it's probably a case of this is what usually happens. So you would assume that this is similar to those cases where people from Vietnam want to come, or other countries. It's not just Vietnam. You know that we have the same thing with Albanians here, Lithuanians too, and a certain person would pay, say, £5,000 to somebody, a people smuggler, and they'll get bought into the UK, and then they have to work for these people to pay off that debt, right? And it's just dodgy, dodgy as fuck. Cause, you know, and that is still slavery. I'm not saying that that's the correct way to go about things. It's definitely not. But you can get a fucking plane ticket to the UK for far less than that, and then just overstay your visa. You know, so it makes you wonder why these people pay these extortionate fees to these criminal gangs in the first place. It's like they want to come here and not be identified. So that's a red flag to me in the first place. You know, that kind of stuff. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, there's gaps in their story. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so allegedly these guys have been brought over and been forced to work on construction sites as well. I mean, that's a bit of a strange one. Yeah. Yes, strange. And modern slavery is not good, you know. Well, neither's not modern slavery. You know, slavery is not good at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the only reason why this kind of thing is happening, well, I say that, but if these people are working on construction sites, which is completely legal in the UK, you can work on a construction site, but they're still doing that. So even if we did legalize cannabis and, you know, there were places where people could grow it, would these guys still get smuggled in and made to work in these farms illegally like they have on the construction site? Interesting. Well, these people shouldn't be put in these conditions, man. And if it was legalized and regulated, I'm sure we'd see a lot less of these cases, because it's not just Vietnamese people this is happening to. This is happening to people from all over the world, brought to the UK legally, illegally, and forced to work for little to nothing, sometimes nothing. It's ridiculous. It's sad, and the government needs to do better to make sure that this kind of thing isn't happening. And the best way for them to do that is to legalize and properly regulate. You know what I mean? Ridiculous, man. Yeah. Anyway, so that was that one. That's just a short article there. We got another one from the UK, and this is just ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous. Check this out. This footballer admits plot to smuggle 600k of cannabis. That's 600,000 pounds sterling of cannabis, everybody. It's a ridiculous amount of money. So what but by police standards, that's about 3 ounces. You know what they like. They like to exaggerate things. A professional footballer has admitted to his involvement in a plot to smuggle drugs with a street value of £600,000 from Thailand into the UK. Jay Emmanuel-Thomas, who is 34, you think he would know better at this age. You understand when you got young kids doing stupid things like this. People like 18, 20, all the way up to 25. You'd be like, yeah, you can kind of excuse it because you don't really know what the fuck he's doing. But, when you're 34, you should fucking know better, really. Anyway, so he was arrested after 60 kilos, that's 132 pounds of cannabis, was found in a suitcase arriving at London Stansted Airport in Essex on the 2nd of December. Now, just, when you see these ridiculous amounts, right, this 60 kilograms packed into a suitcase, how big was that suitcase? And really, how big is 60 kilograms of cannabis? That's a fuckload of cannabis, man. It's like, I've grown, back in the day when I would do 4 plants, I'd easily get 500 grams, and that would take like fucking 10, 12, 15 jars, depending on the size of the buds. And, that's like 2-liter Kilner jars and shit, and then you put them in bags or cases, it'll be a lot. And that's just 500 grams. So you're talking 120 times that amount. Are you crazy? How's that fit in it? You know what I'm saying? Irish Grower in the chat there says, no way that was one case. You know what I mean? Surely not. But anyway, maybe it was. Maybe the guy's just really good at Tetris. He just lined it all correctly. Din, 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 din. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, where was I? He was sacked by Scottish club Greenock Morton after being charged, having previously played for Arsenal, Aberdeen, Ipswich Town, and England at youth level. The father of 2 will be sentenced at Chelmsford Crown Court at a later date. Emmanuel-Thomas of this place near Glasgow pleaded guilty to the offence in May, reporting restrictions on the case were lifted on Wednesday. So that means the press can talk about it now. Prosecutor David Jossie, KC, said it followed a very thorough investigation by the National Crime Agency, the NCA. So if you see on the screen, everybody, I think that's the 60 kilos. So that's quite a bit, man. It's quite, and it would have been all compressed buds as well. That's bad. Just squish it all down. Might as well make hash, man. What the fuck? Emmanuel-Thomas duped his 33-year-old girlfriend, Yasmin Petroska. Yes, nailed that. And her friend, Rosie Rowland, who was 28, into collecting the cannabis in Thailand and smuggle it into the UK. So he didn't even smuggle it in himself, the degenerate. Gone sent his missus and her friend to do it, didn't have the fucking stones to go get it himself. Wow. Classy fella, this one. Classy fella. Played for Arsenal, not surprised. I'm not even a football fan, so when I say that, it's not like I mean anything by it, because I don't know what I'm talking about. I just like to trigger people who do follow football. Yeah. Oh, Hashishin said, my Polish friend would disagree there, Macky. Well, the effort's there 100%, all right, mate? 100% effort I'll put into trying to pronounce it. That's Piotr. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, maybe I did butcher it, all right, but I tried, mate. Do I get no credit for trying? Gosh, man. Gosh. Anyway, they were all given an all-expenses paid trip to the country and promised a payment of £2,500, the NCA Imagine that, right? The street value of this cannabis was over £500,000. It's 600,000. And this guy's like, yeah, I'll give you 2.5K. You, this guy sounds like a dickhead. Just saying. Meanwhile, the footballer acted as an intermediary between criminals in both Thailand and the UK. The woman was stopped by Border Force officials at Stansted Airport after flying in from Bangkok and found to have 4 suitcases containing cannabis. Yeah, it was 4 suitcases there, everybody, okay? So now we know that's 15 kilograms in each suitcase by my quick maths there. Anyway, what are we saying? Containing cannabis. However, charges against Miss Rowland of this place in this place and Miss Piotrowska. Was that bad? Look at that. I even put fucking accent on it for you that time. Check that out. Of this place in northwest London were dropped earlier. Okay, so they let the ladies go. Like, this guy's such a prick. Shouldn't have done that to you. We're just gonna let you go and go for him. What you keep counting for? What, 8? Yeah, I don't know. They wept. Oh God, they wept as they were allowed to leave the dock, having denied importing cannabis between the 1st of July and the 2nd of September at earlier hearings. Jesus, there's the fella on the screen there. If you're watching, look at that. Looks like a footballer. I think he's performed too many headers. Look at that left eye. It's like lower down than the right eye. You know? I bet he still didn't score a goal. Mr. Jossi said the investigation into the involvement was discontinued after analysis of Emmanuel-Thomas's mobile phone. So he didn't even use a burner. Yeah, this guy's proper bright. Too many headers, as I said. Thank you for rating my pronunciation there. I appreciate it. They thought they were importing gold, not cannabis. Oh my God. Does that make a difference? You're not even allowed to do that. You can't bring large amounts of gold or cash into the country without declaring it at customs. Jesus, you telling me you didn't check the suitcase? Well, full of shit. On his way to custody in September, Emmanuel-Thomas said, I just feel very sorry for the girls. Behave, mate. You don't give a shit. Otherwise, you wouldn't have put them in that position in the first place. You know what I'm saying? He just feels very sorry you got caught. That's what he feels sorry about. Emmanuel-Thomas made 5 first-team appearances for Arsenal, also going on to play for Bristol City, Queen's Park Rangers, MK Dons, and Thai-based team PT Rayong in 2019. He was sacked by Scottish side Greenock Morton. So you can see there, right? You can see there how he started off at these good clubs. He was in the England youth team, and then he's gone from Arsenal, then he's gone to Bristol, a little bit less than Arsenal, Queen's Park Rangers, MK Dons, who are they? And then a Thai-based team in PTT Rayong. So he's just slowly, they're like, oh yeah, we hired this guy, but he's really shit. We need to get rid of him. And he's just passing down to a lower and lower team until he was eventually on this Scottish team called Greenock Morton, which is probably just a local football team to a town with 10,000 people in it or something. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. He tried different avenues for his career because football clearly was not working. I hate to judge. Sorry, I don't mean to. Gellert says, everyone hates MK Dons. I don't even know who they are, mate. Yeah. But David Phillips, a senior NCA investigator, said organised criminals like Emmanuel-Thomas can be very persuasive and offer payment to couriers. But the risk of getting caught is very high, and it simply isn't worth it. The maximum sentence for smuggling cannabis in the UK is 14 years in jail. Crazy. And there's always, because there's this TV show called Banged Up Abroad. You know, you would have seen it, everybody. A lot of people would, or at least know about it. And there was one episode where I saw where people were smuggling gold into the country, right? And what this organised crime gang would do is they had a deal with the people at the customs, the people checking the bags. Like, we're going to send these people through and you catch them. So we're going to have these 10 people go through and you just let them in. You know what I mean? So it's that's always a concern. It's never, nobody's ever says to me, oh, okay, I'll pay for your holiday, you can do some smuggling, because I just say no anyway. That's not how I roll. Stupid fucking idea. don't ever do it. But even if you did want to, you have to bear that in mind. They don't know who you are. They might be just getting you to be one of those guys that you're going to get caught on the way in. They just grass you up. They don't give a fuck about you. So they can get all their friends through. Never get involved with anything like this. It's too dangerous. The consequences are too huge, man. So, yeah, and this guy was terrible for getting his girlfriend involved. Like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? The girlfriend and the friend. And he's got 2 kids as well. It's like, come on, man. You should know better. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's enough from the UK. Let's talk about Texas. Texas is going to change some things as well. Just reading in the chat there. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Don't forget to hit the like button. Sir Hunterlight said, got sacked, all right. Sounds like he knows he knows a little bit about this guy's story. Interesting. Anyway, a Texas House passes bill banning sale and possession of THC cannabis products. Dun, dun, dun. A bill banning THC passed in Texas House late Wednesday night. In a vote, 95 to 44, Senate Bill 3 passed in the House, banning all THC products. Adults would face up to a year in jail for possessing any THC product. Crazy. THC is an 18 billion industry in Texas. What? And they're banning it? I'll read that again. THC is an $18 billion industry in Texas. Critics have said that many local businesses will be impacted by the ban. That's crazy. That's a lot of money. Why are they turning that away? You know, when they put taxes on it and shit. Anyway, let's carry on with the story here. Texas Lieutenant Governor Don Patrick, who championed the bill, thanked lawmakers for passing the bill and said it's about protecting kids and adults and lining my pockets, allegedly. Allegedly. We're not saying that this guy is doing something like that, of course. He's probably an upstanding citizen. We are deeply disappointed by the Texas House passage of SB 3, a bill that dismantles the legal hemp industry and ignores the voices of small businesses, farmers, veterans, and consumers across the state who rely on hemp-derived products for their livelihoods and well-being, the Texas Hemp Business Council said in a statement after the vote. What does the THC ban include? SB 3, authored by Senator Charles Perry, bans Delta 8, Delta 9, and all other forms of intoxicating THC, including beverages. It also prohibits the retail sale of any cannabinoid in the state, with the exception of CBD and CBG. Patrick has previously said the bill does not affect Texas Compassionate Use Program. Okay, so it doesn't affect the medical part of things. So if you're a medical user in Texas, you're still going to be able to get your shit. But anyway, over the past decade, thousands of CBD shops have opened across Texas, selling cannabis products with varying levels of THC, which has a psychoactive effect. When federal, and then it's in brackets here, the Hemp Farming Act of 2018, and state, in more brackets here, House Bill 1325 in 2019. So when federal and state laws legalized hemp with agricultural issues in mind, they differentiated it from illegal forms of cannabis by defining it as having 0.3% Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol, which is THC, or less. So anything with less than 0.3% THC was allowed. You know, and they specifically mentioned tetrahydrocannabinol. And then this carries on. The law didn't explicitly cap other forms of THC like Delta 8 and Delta 10, which aren't naturally found in large quantities. And that's where the loophole was. So they're able to sell these different types of THC under these different names. This Delta 8, this Delta 10, and this HHC. They was allowed to do that because they only mentioned tetrahydrocannabinol in the bill. They didn't mention varieties of it. So that's why people took advantage of that loophole. Cannabis companies jumped on the loophole, providing Texas retailers with products containing an alternative THC compounds. Since 2019, retailers across Texas have exploited a state agricultural law to sell life-threatening, unregulated forms of tetrahydrocannabinol to Texans, including children. Patrick said in a statement, these stores which often target children with their marketing have popped up across the state, threatening the safety of our communities. Today, the Texas Senate drew a line in the sand and passed SB 3 to ban all forms of intoxicating THC. Well, thank you, government, for keeping us all so safe. Texans don't want this. There's another heading there. In March, hundreds visited the Capitol to hear arguments over the proposed ban, with more than 170 people signing up to speak. Texans don't want this, said John Burke, the owner of Shell Shock CBD in Richardson, who was in Austin to testify. Let us be. Let combat veterans be. If we want to have a blunt, there is no different than having an old-fashioned drink and kicking back. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. The blunt ain't going to kill you if you have 20 of them. If you have an old-fashioned drink and have a little bit too much, you might get some alcohol poisoning, it'll kill you. And, you know, we won't get into that discussion, but you know what I'm saying, everybody. I mean, they can be compared in some ways, but it's definitely different. When he says it's no different than having an old-fashioned drink, I wouldn't say it was a lie. It's a mistruth. Let's call it that. Burke previously told CBS News Texas that veterans like himself use THC rather than more addictive opioids, and that a ban on THC is not a true reflection of what the public wants. Very true, man. Very true. THC versus CBD and cannabis products, tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, and its sibling, they're calling it here, cannabidiol, are produced by the same cannabis plants and have similar chemical structures but differ dramatically in their mechanisms of actions and effects on brain functions, according to the NIH, the National Institute of Health. THC and CBD both have therapeutic properties. However, impairments and increased incidence of mental health diseases are associated with acute and chronic THC use, according to the NIH. Cite your studies. Come on, want to see your studies. NIH also said there are significant side effects that are associated with chronic use of high-dose CBD. Jesus. Well, that's all of the article there, everybody. As we can tell, a lot of shit in there. You know what I'm saying? What can you do? What can you do? Some states just don't want it, you know, and we've seen this because we've seen loads of states over the time they go to vote, because the podcast been going for like 5 years or something now, a long time, and we've seen loads of stories, and we've seen loads of states develop over time from being illegal recreationally to becoming a legal state, you know, and having a proper system, and it's always been a good thing. But we've seen many votes come up like, oh, do you want to legalize? And there's people in the state who are just like, no, we don't want that. And, you know, that's democracy. That's the way it goes. Some states don't want it, but some states do. You know, so they need to put the vote out to the people and let those people decide. It's absolutely ridiculous, man. It's absolutely, and this is a big step backwards for the people in Texas, unfortunately. So I hope you can still get the medicine you need if you've been using that, everybody. And, you know, the best thing you can do is get out there and grow your own. But then what are even the consequences in Texas? You know, I think Texas is a little bit harsh on the consequences if you're growing cannabis. You know, they get you under that Proceeds of Crime Act and all that shit. Bad times, man. Scary times. Stay safe out there, fellow Texans. I say fellow Texans like I am one, but, you know, fuck, you know. I sympathize with you guys, man. I understand how it is because we're fucked here in the UK as well. But there is one place. Oh, no, what's this one saying? It's not even let me scroll. Hold on. Okay, yeah, we can read this story. It's from Margaret. This one is from Canada, so I was thinking I might not be able to read it then. But this one here from Canada, and Canada is always, I don't know, they're leading the way, really, when it comes to cannabis legalizations. Yeah. Opportunities abound in Canadian cannabis, but many bud tenders feel left behind. According to a new survey from a recruiting agency, bud tenders in Canada want better pay, better hours, and more straightforward path to advance in the industry. Now, the thing is here with that sentence, let me read that again, all right? Let me just go from there. They want better pay, better hours, and more straightforward path to advance in the industry. That can be said for anything, right? That's all industries. Even if you're a fucking carpenter, you want to say the same thing. You know what I mean? If you worked at KFC, same thing. You want better pay, better hours, and a more straightforward path to advance in the industry. So, of course, this is going to apply to the cannabis industry as well. It's the same for everybody. So I feel as if that's just a little bit redundant, but, I'm just cherry picking here. Retail and manufacturing roles in the cannabis industry, such as bud tenders, production technicians, and assistant managers, experience modest pay increases in 2024, according to a new cannabis salary guide. Despite this, many bud tenders continue to earn below the living wage in parts of the country. At the same time, other positions in the industry command much higher compensation and opportunities for career advancement. While the average salary for bud tenders was $17.20, that's Canadian dollars, of course, and up to $26 an hour, buyers and inventory managers made $55,000 a year to $80,000 a year, and general managers made from $70,000 a year to $100,000 a year. Now, I don't know how that compares to other currencies around the world. I'm not sure about that. What's it compared to the British pound? Is it probably about the same? In which that's a decent pay, I would think, but it's not enough, really, is it? Nobody's buying a house on these wages. You know what I'm saying? On the production side, a cannabis packager might make about $35,000 to $65,000 a year. A director of extraction might make from about $80,000 to $130,000 a year. This is going up. If you're gonna get a job in the cannabis industry in Canada, then so far you want to be looking at the director of extraction. All right. And the VP of manufacturing could make anything from about $140,000 to $220,000 a year. That's is that a lot? Greengrocer asks in the chat. I don't know. I don't know what the minimum wage is in Canada. Yeah, I don't know what the minimum wage is in Canada. So we're gonna have a quick check. I don't usually do shit like this or on the show, just doing live fact checking here. But we'll ask ChatGPT, what is the minimum wage in Canada? Let's have a look. Searching. Excuse why ChatGPT just searching here. As of May 2025, the minimum wage in Canada varies by province, and territory, as well as the federally regulated workers. Here's an overview of such thing. $17.75 an hour, effective from April 1st, 2025. Right. Yeah. So current rates in Alberta, it's $15 an hour. British Columbia, $17.40. Manitoba is $15.80. New Brunswick, $15.65. Newfoundland and Labrador, $16. Nova Scotia, $15.70. Nunavut, $19. Northwest Territories, $16.70. Ontario, $17.20. Prince Edward's Island, $16. Quebec, $15.75. Saskatchewan got $15, and the Yukon is $17.94. How does the Canadian dollar compare to the US dollar? Let's have a look at that. They should be able to tell us. Just a quick fact check here. We don't do this very much. Might as well, while I'm here on my own. Hopefully somebody on the... can you live on 58k? I don't know. So, oh wow, the Canadian dollar is 0.72 US dollars. The US dollar is 1.3 Canadian dollars. So we're looking just about 2 to 1, right? So it's not, I wouldn't say it was great, really. I mean, if you're earning $35,000 a year in Canada, that's equivalent to, let's say, $20,000 in the USA. And that's crazy, because you're getting tax and shit on that too, of course. That's not good. It's not good money at all. Executive compensation going back to the article here, by the way, everybody. Executive compensation remained stable during this period, with base salaries for C-level roles such as CEO, CFO, and COO ranging from $150,000 to $300,000. Although there's also a growing use of performance-based bonuses and equity as retention tools. The 2025 Cannabis Salary Guide from Toronto-based recruitment agency White Ash Group, which focuses on Canada's cannabis industry, seeks to empower those working to better understand the workplace landscape. Hiring successfully in 2025 is all about alignment between compensation, culture, and career path, says the White Ash Group co-founder, Graydon Wellborn. The most successful companies will be the ones that think beyond just filling roles and start building workplaces that people actually want to grow in. No pun intended. We're seeing noticeable salary growth at the VP and director level, of course. That's in every industry, right? And that's the ones who really get the pay rises, especially in operations and sales, which reflects the shift from startup hustle to scale stage strategy. He adds companies take things seriously, are investing in the experienced leadership and stabilize complete term, blah, blah, blah. This guide goes beyond just cannabis production and retail sales, including cannabis industry jobs like marketing, sales, technology, research, finance, human resources, business operations, Q&A compliance, and much more. In addition to looking at the Canadian cannabis market, the guide also integrates information from 8 different legal US markets with over 2,500 verified North American data points from craft and mid-sized companies. The guide also includes insights from the Canadian bud tender community, the High Buds Club, which boasts membership from 20% of retail cannabis employees in Canada. Surveys with High Buds' broad membership base show that about half of the bud tenders earn $18 to $20 an hour. That's just over half feel their pay is compared to other retail. So, and the thing is, I mean, because you're going to be advising people as well, aren't you, when it comes to people come into the dispensary and you want to give them advice. And I don't think you're allowed to. We were talking to Dr. High the other day, and he used to work in a dispensary, and he wasn't allowed to advise people like, oh, you need something for sleep, try this one. So, but you was expected to know stuff about cannabis, I'm sure. So it's not like just an untrained, unskilled job. They deserve a little bit more money than just an unskilled laborer, for example. But they deserve more money too. Despite this, more than 3/4, that's 77% of bud tenders in Ontario earn below the provincial living wage, which is $21.67 per hour. Wow. Toronto is $26 and Ottawa is $22.8. This is living wage. This isn't minimum wage. So, there's a different thing. We have that now. However, there are opportunities in this space. Over half, 54% of surveyed bud tenders received a raise or promotion in the past year, although some employees feel it can be difficult to advance beyond the retail space. So yeah, we could go on. This article's a little bit longer. I'll just put it on the screen, so if you wanted to read it, then you can read through it there. But, it goes on and on. It goes on and on. It's just, every industry is suffering. Well, I say every industry is suffering right now. All the workers are suffering in all of these industries, Irish Grower said, I spent 6 months in in Toronto, and was $8 an hour back then, 8 per pint too. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, as I say, all industries are suffering. Everybody needs more money. It's not like they want it. I mean, everybody wants more money, of course, but there's a difference between need and want, People can't afford to fucking buy shoes and shit now. And we've got no chance of buying a house. And this is all over the world. This is UK, USA, this is Australia, Canada, all over the world, same issues. They're just housing prices have gone up ridiculously high. So for you to be able to buy a house and offer some kind of stability to your family is getting more and more difficult to do. Wages need to go up. And it's like productivity is going up. People are making more stuff. They're selling more stuff. You know what I mean? But the money's just being scooped up and being kept at the people at the top. And it's not, this whole trickle-down economics bullshit, it's just not working, is it? It's like it's not trickling down very far. It's not coming down to the people who need it. And as a result, we have this thing called living wage now. Remember, it used to be minimum wage. People used to be, minimum wage is this. And that's what people used to have to live on. But now you got the two different ones. Minimum wage versus living wage. Like, you can pay people that, but they can't afford to live on it. So they might need 2 fucking jobs. That's crazy, man. Crazy. But let's not get into that, right? That rant. You know what I mean? Yeah, and Hashishin said no wage soon. You know what I mean? Because that's something that's concerning as well. And they just get, we can get these people who have been sent to prison to go out in there and work. And it's like, okay, but they're taking jobs from people who need money. Right? And so then what's stopping the government from just keep arresting people and throwing people in prison for a certain amount of time so they can get a shitload of free labor? You think they wouldn't? Of course they fucking would. government doesn't have your best interest in mind. But here I am going on about this shit. But you know what I'm saying, though? You know what I'm saying? It's bad, man. It's bad. And I just wish things was a little bit different. But they ain't, are they? Things are a little bit fucked. But I hope these guys can get the pay rises they're looking for, because they obviously deserve it. But then as a result, if their wages goes up, then what's going to happen? You know, CEOs, they ain't going to take a cut of their money, are they? Because they want their wages to go up too. They want to buy a new car. They want to possibly get themselves a yacht. So what happens? Prices goes up at the bud. You can't win. You can't win. So eventually, I'm not saying these people don't deserve the money, because they do. They're putting in the hard graft, and they deserve to get paid accordingly for it. But, you know, if they're going to get paid more, the bud's going to go up more, and people are just going to end up back at the legacy market. It's crazy, man. Economics is a very complicated topic, you know. And even the littlest thing can have huge complications. It's crazy. But that's all the news stories we have today. We did have another one, but I think I deleted it because it was just, I don't know, it was long or something. I don't know. But yeah, that flew by that. That's been an hour. It feels like that went by really fast because I just read through all those articles. Gosh, did well not to go on too many tangents there. You know, looks like Margaret couldn't get back in, unfortunately. Just ended up being me reading through the news articles there. So stick with me here, you know, stick with me as we move with the grow guides in a little bit. But for forum news, the poll for Plant of the Month is up and running now. There was we got up to entry G, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's 7 entries. Please go over there. If you are a member of the forum, please head over to the forum and just drop your vote. You know, these guys have taken the time to enter, and it is good to get loads of votes just to, you know, get a nice varied approach, a varied view on what people want to see as Plant of the Month. So obviously go do that, and that'd be cool. And then next month, maybe if you have a plant, it doesn't matter about the stage of growth it's at and shit like that, then go and enter. Anybody who enters Plant of the Month, we do a spin during the break of the live show, and I'll pay for votes. What are you, some lobbyist, Irish grower? But, you know, get your plant over there so you can enter as well and get onto the wheel spin. We also have, it's the 25th now, and on the last Friday of every month, we have a Patreon session. So if you are a Patreon, you know, if you pay the $4.20 over at patreon.com/Percys Grow Room, then, yeah, we have this session. Everybody's welcome. You know, if you're a patron, of course, it's a private club kind of thing we have. And we just chat shit for a few hours. Sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 3, sometimes 4, man. Sometimes it goes on for a while. And we just have a good time chatting shit. So if you are a Patreon, come and join us. I'll drop the links over in the forum and the Discord on the day. So stay tuned for those. They'll be coming in as well. What else did I want to say? You're looking at getting more interviews. If you have any suggestions for interviews, or, you know, if you have any guests who you think haven't been on the show yet and we should get them on, and let me know so I can reach out to them as well, because I want to get some new names, new faces on the show. It's always good. Of course, we want to get the old faces back on as well. We also want to see new ones too. So if you have any suggestions, let us know. Yeah. Improper Weed Viking said, I'll come if I'm not attacked for my music tastes. We can't help that, bro. You have got, I don't know what you're even doing listening to that. Viking is one of those guys who listens to that, you know, that death metal where, you know, that kind of music, which is fine, you know, each to their own and stuff. But yeah, it's not for me. I just feel like that kind of music, like the people singing it, just, they need to smoke just a little bit more, man. Just fucking calm down, bro. There's no need to shout. No need to be all fucking angry and growling at people and shit. You need to just chill the fuck out a little bit. And turn the gain down on your guitar. I can't understand the notes you're playing. Gosh, man. What's with the double kick pedal sounding like a machine going off? It's like, no, man. No. Calm the fuck down. Jesus. But yeah, thanks for your input there, Viking. And yeah, I've been making loads of shit on with this Suno, which was mentioned by Dr. High. I checked it out. Pretty much blown away by how good this this AI music making software is. So I've made myself an 80s synthwave video. Yeah. It's just some 80s music with to drive to in the dark. Good shit. I made some chill hop. Made some liquid drum and bass playlist. And yesterday I made a reggae dub playlist as well. All good tunes, man. You find the link to where I'm putting them up on our YouTube channel in the Secret Garden over on the forum. And if you are also in the Secret Garden, you have to be a known member and above, you know, to share that kind of stuff. But if you are a known member and above and you're making some music on Suno, then come and show us your skills, man. Except for you, Viking. All right? We don't want to see yours. Just saying. But I think that is everything. There's nothing else to add here. Let me think. Yeah, we did the plant of the month thing. Don't forget to vote. The Patreon session. Looking for more guests. Yeah, I think that's it. That's it. Let's go for a smoke break. Let's go. Oof, that was hard work because there's nobody here, and I don't like dead air. You know, then I couldn't even have a drink for that whole time. Gosh. Now I can take a sip. You know what I mean? Gosh, it's warm now. Just sat there all fucking getting warm and shit. Irish grower. I think you're a known user and you're Irish grower. I'm not sure. If not, you just have to wait till you get promoted, mate. And there's certain criteria for that. We don't just promote anybody now, do we? That'd be crazy talk. But anyway, let's spin this fucking wheel. Should we do it? This is for all of those people who entered Plant of the Month. I don't know who is what entry. All right. So I just put it down as entry A, B, C, D. And then whichever one you are, it doesn't matter if you win Plant of the Month or not. This is separate, you know, because you entered into this free little prize draw here where you get to pick 5 beans from the Percys vault. So if you entered, good luck. If you didn't enter, why the fuck not? Any plants can be entered. You know what I mean? So get over there. Just take a little picture of plant. Can be a seedling. Can be in veg. Can be fully in flower before it's been harvested. You know, it can be full of seeds. It can be a male. Anything. You got a plant. Going into it. Of course, check the rules. Make sure you got an applicable sign and all that. Because only valid entries will be added to the wheel. But yeah, man. Why not? Why not? What have you got to lose? So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yes, it does have to be a cannabis plant. Thanks for specifying that, Phil. It does have to be a cannabis plant. Yeah. Right. 3, 2, 1. Go. Good luck. And the winner is... Oh, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. Entry A. So, yeah, I'll find out who entry A is. And yeah, and then I'll drop you a message or something. Or if you're in the chat now and you're listening and you are entry A, then let us know so I can send you some shit. You know what I'm saying? Send you some beans from Percys. Nice. It's a nice collection of beans we have as well. Yeah, man. What else has been going on? Gosh, what else has been going on? There's loads of stuff going on. I'm watching an old school movie. Remember that movie Meet Joe Black? Remember that one? I saw some thing earlier, like a little clip, you know, one of them reels you see, and it was like, oh man, I haven't seen that movie in ages. I think I've seen it like 20 years ago or something. I don't know, it was a long time ago. So I was like, yeah, gotta watch that film again. So I've got that film like paused halfway through in the background here. I'm halfway through it, but I think I remember what happened in the end now. Now I've watched a few of it, you know, like now I've watched a bit of it. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this film. I remember what happens in the end, which has kind of spoiled it for me. But and there's more films like that which I need to see, which I haven't seen for a long time. It's been a few. We watched A Hangover last night. My wife wasn't sure if it was suitable for my son. It wasn't. Don't you fucking hate that? And I thought before, right? And anybody is feel free to run off with this idea because I'm not going to do it. But I thought it would be good to make a forum, right? And I wanted to call it something like the inappropriate sex scene or something like that, because there's so many movies out there that are fucking epic, but you can't watch them with your kids because for some reason there's a sex scene in it that is completely inappropriate, doesn't add to the story whatsoever. It's like, you know, in the Truman Show, it's like there could have potentially been a sex scene in the Truman Show when he's obviously banging his wife, but they don't show that. They just pan off. And the guy even makes the thing saying, fucking, oh, look, they don't ever show anything. They just pan off. It's like, that's the way it should be. You don't need to show us the tits. I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy the tits, right? You know, we all enjoy the tits. But my kids don't need to see that shit. It adds nothing to the story, so why put it in there in the first place? There's loads of films that I would like to see with my kids, but I can't watch them because there's some unnecessary sex scenes. So I thought it would be a good idea to make a website where people can just post. If you're going to watch this movie at this point, this timestamp, skip it for fucking 20 seconds because it's an inappropriate sex scene. You know what I mean? Easy as that. And then you can go to that site. Before you watch the film, just go over there. Can I watch The Green Mile with my kid? And it's like, no, there's that bit where there's, talking about two dead girls and shit, So, and it will tell you the timestamp. So when you get to that point, skip it 20 seconds, or however long you need to, and it's gone. You know what I mean? And the story won't change because the majority of the time, the sex scene, it's got absolutely nothing to do with the story. It adds no value whatsoever. Nothing. It's just like Hollywood just likes to throw this shit in our kids' faces. And why they do that, I don't know. I would hate to just guess. But we know why, really, don't we? Because we're all sick fucks, Well, you can see the tits, Irish grower. You can. If your kids ain't watching, you look at the tits. Pause it. If you want to, get a good look at the tits, mate. You're an adult. That's fine. I don't want to be watching Happy Gilmore or something, and then the guy's got his ball sack out or something. I know that doesn't happen in Happy Gilmore, but I'm just saying, man. Unexpected sex scene with your parents was horrible. You know what I'm saying, Gellert? So if your parents had this website that they could fucking visit to see where the inappropriate sex scene was, you wouldn't have to suffer that trauma. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. I like tits, You know what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm going to go out my way to fucking see them, but if it's in a movie, I'm not going to skip. But if my kids are in a room, I don't want them seeing that shit. They're too young for that. Yeah, pretty sure they made a website out there for the opposite reason. For sure, bro. For sure. But yeah, it's completely unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like music videos, goddamn. Yeah, it's just soft porn nowadays. It's ridiculous. Today I took the missus to a shopping centre near me, and I sat in the car. I was doing some Chinese on my Duolingo. This car pulls up next to me, and I shit you not, this woman gets out, and she is wearing her bra. Like, what are you even doing? You're walking around in public in a brassiere. I didn't say that to her, obviously. She can do what she likes. But I disagree with it. It's like, there's kids out there. There's kids walking around. There's little boys, 8, 9, 10, walking around, watching this woman walking around in her brassiere. You know what I mean? What are you doing? Have some decorum, they would say here in England. This shit would have been considered pornography in the 50s. Yeah. Duolingo is replacing staff with AI. Get a different app, pal. Bro, you think they're all not going to do that? All that kind of shit's being replaced by AI. Everything's being replaced by AI, bro. I'm not one of those who just, don't get involved in cancel culture like that. It's like if I use it and it's good, then I'll continue to use it, But Duolingo did piss me off recently because I've been doing the Chinese course for like 700 days now. We'll get to the Grow Guide soon, everybody. Don't worry. Just a quick smoke break tangent. You know how we roll. Well, I don't know. It must have been 6 months ago. They completely changed the Chinese course. And there was shit in the lessons. Like, I don't know what the fuck that means. I'm just carrying on through the process. As you do, you go through each lesson and everything makes sense. And then all of a sudden, one day, everything just changed. So what the fuck does that mean? I don't know how to say that. You know what I mean? And so I've reset my whole progress. Went back to the beginning, gone through the whole thing again, made good progress. And now, just a couple of days ago, they've reset it all again. Added loads more shit. And it's like, what was it? It says, how did the company meeting go yesterday? I'm like, I don't know how to say company or meeting. You know what I mean? Why have you added all these words? It's asking me about blue shoes and shit. It's like, I know how to say green and white. You taught me green and white. What are you talking about fucking blue? I don't know blue. Why have you done this? Pissed off, man. But the new features are good, don't get me wrong. They've got some good shit on there about reading in the Chinese and all things like that, and it's good. But damn, man, what? She's going to throw it at me like that. I have to start from the beginning again? Jesus. What's Viking saying? There's a little boys figure out what it's all about. Very true. Very true. Yeah. I'll never forget my best mate's mom. Jesus. Nice, Viking. Were they good? Were they good? Can you draw us a picture? Can you draw a good picture of it? Wow. Yeah, I remember one time I went camping when I was a kid. Fucking hell, better not tell that story actually. Shit. But you know, it's like the first pair of boobs I ever felt, you know, and it's just young. And it's like I just sat there for like an hour just holding this chick's boobs, you know. It's absolutely ridiculous. But the things we do when we're kids and we just don't know any better, you know. Goddamn, good times when we were kids there. Jesus, camping was fun, you know, back in the 80s and the 90s, where, you know, you just pretend, oh, I'm staying at Trevor's house, Mum, you know, and you're actually just drunk in fucking golf course somewhere. I remember that one, camped in the golf course. Okay, now didn't even have tents or anything. You know, one of our friends had a tent, but you know, we all slept outside of it and shit. Wake up in the morning, you're all covered in the morning dew and shit. Jesus. Wow. Good times. Good times. But that's enough of random tangents. Yeah. Good times. I want to tell more of those stories on here. Fuck, you know. Jesus, my dad's recording. You ever hear that story about David Cho? You know that guy on Joe Rogan? He tells a funny story about the first time he encountered pornography. He tells a funny story. Yeah, man. Yeah, funny guy. But there we go. Should we let's go and look at some of these questions that we have. And if you do have any questions in the chat, I'll try and answer them. I'm on my own, and you know, my knowledge is limited. I don't know it all, so I might not be able to answer all the questions, but I'll try. Okay? Let's talk about some listener mail questions. So, of course, we do these grow guides, as you all know by now. We're on episode 44. And the grow guides are usually 40, 50 minutes. Most of the time, about an hour. We try and aim to get that hour in there. You know, we have about 40 to 50 minutes of grow guides, and then we have some listener mail questions at the end. But there's loads of topics that we've kind of covered, right? But to actually cover some of the questions that we get would only take 10 minutes, 20 minutes. So there's some shit that we do have that people should be learning about, but we just haven't been able to make it into a full episode. So I thought now, after we've just got that mini series out the way, that it'd be a good idea to just answer some of these questions that we have to try and help you with, you know, just the random things that you might need to know. So the first one, we've seen this question a few times. Let me read this out. I have a nice plant growing in flower. I haven't taken any cuts of it. Is it possible to take cuts from a flowering plant and re-veg it? If so, how and how long will it take? So yeah, you just take your fucking cut, man. Take cut. Just you know, you can. Well, there's a couple of ways, right? You can take your cut. Just snip a lower branch from a flowering shoot, you know, with a small bud. Don't cut one of huge colas off and try and take a cut into that. You just want one of the small ones. You know, from a small branch, maybe one from down the bottom. But the bottom one's going to be a little bit woody. You know, we discussed how to take the cuttings in the actual cutting episode. So if you don't know how to take cuttings, look at that first. But you can definitely do that with the flowering plant. You know, when it gets to the end, it's looking good. You're like, fuck, wish I had a cutting of this one. We've all been there. Well, the majority of us have been there. If you're still new to grow, you haven't done it. But you get to the end of a grow and you just see how well a particular plant's done. It smells great. Fucking looks amazing, frosty, fat buds, and you're like, fuck, I wish I could take a cut of this. Take a cut of it. Take a few cuts of it, because it might not work out. You know, it's better to have extra just in case. And you're going to do the same thing as you do for any clone. You know, you're going to cut a little 45-degree angle on the stem, put it in some cloning powder if you have that. You know, it's optional, but it's definitely helpful. And then just put that in a Rockwool cube or in cocoa or something like that. Keep it wet. You know, you can put one of those proper cloner bubbler things if you have one of those. Again, go and check out that cloning episode if you're unsure of a good method. And this is why you should take a few, just in case you are unsure. You know, and then, yeah, just let it go. It's going to take just like any other cutting, it's going to take a week, maybe two. You know, just put it under 18.6 or even 24 hours of light. Use something soft. Don't use like a fucking 600-watt HPS. Don't put a powerful light on it, because you don't want the metabolism of the actual cutting to be too fast, because it'll just use up all the nutrients that's in it. It'll dry out. It'll die. It's got no roots. Don't do that kind of shit. But just use a T5 usually is what people would use, or just a light LED light, just a small one, man. Keep the don't make it too warm and shit. Just the same as any other plant. 22 to 25 degrees C is fine. Humidity around 60 to 80% is good. You know, and then you just have to wait. You just sit there waiting. Make sure that it stays wet. You know, make sure the rock wool or the cocoa stays wet, or the bubbler stays on. And after 2 to 3 weeks, you should, around that time, start to see roots come in. But it just takes patience. Don't fuck with it too much. Just let it do its thing, and hopefully you should be able to get some roots growing on it. And then when the roots do start to grow, you know, it might still have a little bit of bud on and shit like that, because, you know, it's been going through fire. But when the roots start to grow, you can start to treat it like an ordinary plant. You can put it in some soil or some cocoa, whatever your grow method is. Then you just have to keep it as a vegging plant. The growth's going to go funny for a while, right? And this is... You'll notice the growth. Once you've seen the growth, you're going to know what I'm talking about. The leaves look a lot flatter, a lot more rounded. It's a particular look. You know, they get single blades on them. You just do a Google search, or check over on Percys. You know, you can find re-vegging plants on Percys as well. There's a specific look, and it will go through this stage of going from flower into veg again, and it will go through that re-veg stage where the plant growth just looks fucked, and it'll be like that maybe 4 to 6 weeks. So this does take a while. You know, you're looking at a couple of months to go from the cutting off the mother plant into being a vegetating plant again. But it takes some time, but it's worth it. You know, if you got a good plant and you want to save them genetics, taking a cut and re-vegging it is the best way to do it. You know, and then from there, you can veg out that plant, because after 4 to 6 weeks, you're gonna, and that's not 46, that's 4 to 6 weeks. You know, what's that, like 28 days, 35 days, something like that, a month. You know, the roots start growing, and then the normal growth will start after that, and it'll start looking like a normal cannabis plant again. You know, just keep it happy. Start feeding the veg newts with it. Then, you know, nitrogen. You know, the grow newts instead of the bloom newts. Then you're good, man. That's your cutting. You know what I'm saying? And there's another way as well. You can do the whole cutting thing, but there's other ways that people do as well. And but it just takes a lot more space. Really, is just when you harvest the plant, just leave some leaves on the bottom of it. Leave some leaves, some buds there, and keep watering it. And again, it will slow down. The growth will slow down because it had lots of stress, having loads of shit taken from it. But after a week or two, it'll start showing this new growth, which will be that re-veg growth, them dodgy looking, flat, single blade leaves. They'll look dodgy as fuck. Strange look to them. But, you know the look when you see it. And then after 4 to 6 weeks again, it'll just, obviously, when you take all the cuttings, you're putting it back on 18.6 or 24 hours a day of light, not on 12.12, you know? And then just give it time. And it'll start to show normal growth again after a while. And then you're good. Then then you've re-vegged the plant, man. Nice and easy. It takes a while, but it is really easy. You know, don't think it's too complex or anything like that. Definitely give it a shot if it's something that you're interested in. You know what I'm saying? A question here from Irish Grower. My plants seem to yellow in my sips. That's sub-irrigation pots. Sometimes around week 6 to 8. Am I just underfeeding with my top dress? Need more information about that, really, mate. I mean, because this is going to be absorbing water from the bottom all the time, isn't it? And sometimes it's good to give it a water from the top, just so it can flush out old salts and shit like that. But I find week 6 to 8, especially through veg, starts to get a bit CalMag deficient, but it's not really CalMag deficient. It's more of a magnesium deficiency. There's plenty of calcium there, but the plant needs magnesium to help the calcium move around the plant. So what I would advise, and what I do myself, I usually do it around week 4 to 5, especially growing in cocoa, is I'd give it a good spray of Epsom salts. That's I'd get a liter of water and just put like 1/3 of a teaspoon. Don't even need a lot, just a little bit. Put it in some water, shake it up, and then just spray it on the leaves, top and bottom. You know, make sure it's all coated, man. And that helps deliver the magnesium straight to the leaves, right where it is, and the magnesium gets in, and that gets the calcium and helps that move around the plants, and then you don't really see any kind of issue. Then I don't anyway. I think that works for me. Yeah. So yes. What are we saying there? Was Candyman said something I didn't say? I didn't see anything else he said. I don't see it in chat. What you'll be civil and respectful seems kind of obvious to be that some way may say, and therefore rude to mention to be the way. I don't know what you're saying there, Candyman. Anyway, so we did have another cue. I did see another cue. My plants in the sips. I hope that answers your question there. But, we would need more info, like what medium it's in, what nutrients it's getting, and all shit like that. So if you need any more help with that, Irish grower, just head over to Percys, man. Head over to Percys Grow Room, and you'll be able to get more information. Yes. But let's have a look at one of these list of my questions that was sent into the forum here. Got one from Filmy Bowls. He said, us at-home growers, we are so in touch with our plants, soil, water, and air. Basically, everything Mother Nature has given us, we take to provide us with great smoke and tasty weed. Here's my question. Do you think that us smoking cannabis and expanding our senses is a form of communicating with Mother Nature or relating with her? Yeah, man. I don't know. I'd like to think that way. And Canaman says, wonder how long it takes for CLN cannabis legalization news live stream live chat to get uploaded. You're asking on the wrong fucking channel, mate. What are you doing, man? Jesus. You just come. Why you come here to do that? Why you come? You think people go from our streams to go and ask about our shit over on their channel? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Jesus, man. Anyway, let's go back to what I was talking about here. Yeah, I mean, cannabis has been evolving alongside humans for a long time, I feel. Like 1,000,000 years, 500,000 years, a long time, man. And I think it's been part of our well-being, both mentally and physically, for a long time. You know what I mean? And it is a way for us to connect with nature. You know what I'm saying? All right, give me a second. I've got to get rid of this guy. Hold on. It's gonna play. Sorry about that. There we go. But that was always gonna happen. Let me fucking get rid of this fucking motherfucker. Remove. Bye bye. Bye bye. Hold on. Sorry to disrupt you, everybody. Hide user on channel. There we go. I don't feel like that guy was here with honest intentions. You know what I mean? So yeah. I mean, what do you all think? Do you think there's definitely some kind of next connection when it comes to cannabis? You know what I mean? You feel like that it's a different kind of substance than anything else. It puts you in this kind of vibe, and it just makes you feel more in touch with nature. It makes you feel more at one. It calms down everything. Makes you appreciate things a little bit more. I don't know. It's a special plant. It's a special plant. I feel like Macky just deleted someone. Who? It's a glitch in the Matrix, Backblast. Don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. But yeah, you just got to be I just don't trust that guy. He just seems to be here with to promote another channel rather than coming here to engage with us. Anyway, yeah, that's what I think, Phil. And I'm sure most people think the same kind of thing, isn't it? And it's a bit hippie-like to talk like that, like, oh, the plant puts me in touch with nature. But there is some kind of spiritual aspect to this plant, I feel. It's not like every other plant. There's something different about cannabis. Gives you that vibe, man. Gives you that vibe. Let's go to another one of these big questions. I hope that helps there, Phil. I wish we had the panel here to discuss it more, but, everybody has issues today. It's just it's the way it goes sometimes. And that's what Hashishin said in the chat there as well. And mushrooms. Yeah, same thing. Same thing with psilocybin, man. We've been... when I say we've been given these things, it's not like I think there's some overlord power, like a god or anything like that, who has given us these things. It's just they've evolved alongside us in nature, and as a result, they are there to help us try and figure out our surroundings. That's mushroom, cacti, and cannabis. They're there for a reason, man. and it helps us try and figure out this universe that we have. You know, they're all just part of consciousness helping it experience itself. It's madness, man. You know, there's so many things out there in nature that are just there to alter our perception and make us think about things in a particular way. It's so cool. It's so cool. We're very lucky to have these things. Imagine if we didn't. Imagine how boring it would be. Ah, the same with caffeine and things like that as well. Jesus. All these different things that we have. Just plant-based medicines. Incredible things, man. We have them for a reason. Use them if you can. We had a good question here. We've had this one a few times as well. One similar to it, I think my carbon filter is on the way out, but I can't afford to replace it right now because they're like fucking 80 quid or something. I don't know. It could be expensive depending which one you're getting. Is there a way I can refresh it and make it work properly again without buying a new one? Risky, bro. Well, if you grow in a legal place where you're allowed to grow, not so bad, is it? It's not, because people might smell it and shit, and you're not going to get the door kicked off, hopefully. But if you're growing in an illegal place, then one of those rules to stay safe while you're growing cannabis is cover the smell. Very important, man. And, you need to get that fixed straight away. And I know you can't afford one right now. It might be difficult to replace it, but you got to make that top priority, Otherwise, you're replacing your carbon filter and your front door. You know what I mean? Don't want that shit. But for now, the best thing you can do, because sometimes high humidity can stop your carbon filter from working properly. So if you can just get it to dry out a bit, you can put it out there in sunlight for a day or two. But this is going to be a problem because loads of smell is going to get out. You know what I mean? So that's a difficult thing. If you have another old spare one, because I've got old spare ones that I haven't got rid of, you can put one of those on. Another way you can another way you can use it is try and, if you pull in air through it, if your extractor's sucking the air through the carbon filter, then try and pull it on the other side of the vent. You know what I mean? Like have it blowing through the carbon filter instead, because having going it through that different direction, sometimes that can work and reduce the smell as well. But these like, it might get you through for a week or two, and even that, it's still going to let out some leaks. The only way you can really do anything about it is replace it. And it's just one of those things, man. Carbon filter needs replacing every few grows, really. A couple of grows, and you're going to start noticing some dodginess. You're going to notice some smell. 12 to 18 months maximum, you want to get that shit replaced. Especially if you're growing in a place where it's illegal. You just can't take that risk. So, as I say, try flipping it around so you can blow air through it rather than sucking air through it, or vice versa, depending on which way you got it. Just try and alternate the direction the air's been going through it. Or then just put it outside for a bit to try, in the sun, not in the rain. You want to try and dry out the carbon, the charcoal in it, because that's going to help it scrub more of the air out. If it gets too humid, it's going to have an effect on the smell as well. So maybe that's an issue. Try reducing the humidity. That can get it working again, maybe, But if it's over 12 months old, it's probably just needs replacing. So just get that done as quickly as possible, And yeah, let it dry out in the sun if you can do that. That could work. And you can also wrap shit around it. They usually come with them sleeves, like a cotton white sleeve that goes around it. That can help, but that's just gonna stop dust getting in there. Excuse me. It's just gonna stop dust getting in there a bit, and prolong the life. But still, it's not gonna refresh the carbon in there. So it's just gonna be a big problem. And you use these backup methods like owner gel, which people like to use, or carbon air purifiers, incense, or essential oil diffusers in the grow room. But man, I don't like adding any kind of scents to any of the, when it's in flower like that, incense or air fresheners, anything like that. That's going to get on your buds. It's going to taint the flavor. It could add potentially heavy metals to them. It's just something I never like to do, man. When my plants were always in flower, I would, across like the whole top floor of my house, no spray of anything whatsoever. Nothing. No introduction of any smells. No deodorant. No fucking shaking vac. No heavy shampoos. Nothing like that, man. It's so I wouldn't go down that route. You just have to get that carbon filter replaced as quickly as possible. So good luck if that is an issue you are having. But again, just to say, you're not going to be able to fully regenerate that carbon inside the carbon filter. It's just not doable. I mean, you might be able to buy carbon and replace it. You know, there's videos online where you can take the top off your carbon filter, take all the charcoal out, put some new shit in there, and fix it all back together. But still, that's not going to be free, is it? It's going to be cheap if you have the right tools. But if you don't have the right tools, you're just going to have to get a new filter. It's a shit one. Just bear it in mind, every 12 months, aim to replace it. You know? So it's a good question, though, because a lot of people do suffer with that same issue. So thanks for sending in that question, bro. A few people have sent that question in the past as well. So it is an important topic. But it's one from Surfer. It's an interesting one, right? Let's go through this. I run a 24-hour light schedule for my autos. I find it way easier to control temps and humidity this way. No swings. This is probably a question that's being talked about endlessly, but if there's any definitive science behind the advantage of the rest period, dark period, in brackets, over 24-hour lighting, I feel less temp humidity swings and lower ppfd per hour is the winner here with ruderalis genetics. Obviously, you couldn't flower plants in 24 hours on 24-hour days, but is that bro science? As much as people say that the rest period is advantageous. Any facts to be shared? Asking the wrong guy, bro. You know, I have my own personal opinion about this, and it seems like there's many people who agree with it. Is the plants... You're going to get this thing called DLI, right? And there's loads of the acronyms. Like you have the PPFD, you have there the photosynthetic flux. Fucking, I don't know what it. I mean, if I thought about it, I could remember what it is, but I don't bother with these algorithms too much. But you get this DLI thing with daily light intake, where a plant's gonna absorb a certain amount of light per day, and then it needs rest. You know, and then it's like, oh, I've taken in all this shit. I need to just rest and process some of this stuff now. And then the plant will sleep. It's like you'll notice, even if the lights are on, this can happen like an hour, 2 hours before the lights usually go off, where the plants will just start drooping, and it's like the plant's getting ready for sleep. So the plants do need some rest period. And also, the roots grow more during the nighttime. You know, that's where the plant stops growing well, it doesn't stop, it slows down the growth above the soil and works on the soil, the roots in the soil, you know, the root zone, the rhizosphere. It will start putting some more growth into that. So along with the DLI there, I mean, you could turn down your LED lights and run less light, you know, less PPFD. And that would work. Then the plant doesn't reach the DLI so easily. But I don't know, man. For me and for a lot of growers, just having just giving it like 6 hours break, even 4 hours break is something, just so the plant can rest and metabolize and get ready for the next day. And here in the UK, fucking electricity prices are crazy, mate. 24 hours? Nah, I run it on 12, man. You know? It's crazy how much electricity is. But I can see what you mean, the point there with you know, keeping everything balanced and shit. It's a good point, man. It's if you keep it on 24 hours, you're not going to get that 10 degree Celsius drop in temperatures when the lights go out higher, you know, and that's going to have an effect as well. But the whole thing that does with me is that DLI, that daily light intake. The plant is going to take in a certain amount of light every day, and when it gets it, whether it gets it in fucking 5 hours, 10 hours, 16 hours, 20 hours, whatever time it gets it, it's going to stop and it's going to rest and it's going to focus on other things. It's not going to be pumping around photosynthesis all of that time. When it reaches the DLI, it droops and it starts to rest. So even if you got the light on, it's not doing anything at that point. Well, I'm sure it might be doing something. As I said, I'm not a fucking scientist. I don't know the ins and outs of this shit, but this is just what I would assume is when it goes into that rest stage, whether you have the light on or not, it's not gonna make much difference. You know, so for me, I would advise to give the plant at least 4 hours rest. At least 6 hours is good, man. 6 hours is good. Keep it simple. You know, that's what you can do. That's what most people tend to do. Keep it simple. The KISS method, somebody mentioned in chat there, to keep it simple, stupid. You know, just it's the best way to do it. And for you, maybe keeping it on 24 hours a day, maybe that is keeping it simple. Maybe that works best for you. And if that's what worked best for you, mate, fucking roll with it. You know what I mean? Do it. As we like to say around here, there's many ways to go swimming with a cat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I hope that helps, man. And let us know what you think in the chat there, everybody. I think the majority of growers, 90% of growers, do like to put fucking at least 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours of rest in the plant's day. It just seems to be the right thing to do. You know what happens naturally, and just for reduction in the electricity costs as well. Yeah. Now, Green Grow say, I found with 20/4 they stalled at ripening. Great for veg. Yeah. That's another good point as well. If you're in veg, then yeah, it might be better. But during that flowering stage, yeah, you can stall as well. I've seen that happen before. These plants just stop doing anything. Like they refuse, you know. And of course, this can only be done with autos. Photo periods would be on 12/12. But I've noticed as well, and I've seen it quite a few times where people are growing autos and they'll have it on 20 hours, like with 4 hours darkness, or even full 24 hours days darkness, and the plant doesn't go into flower. It's like the ruderalis gene isn't strong enough. So it needs to be on 18/6 for it to flower. That happens sometimes, you know. Hashish in the chat said here, Hashbuds recommend 20 hours of light and 4 hours darkness on some of their genetics. That's it. So, and that's a good thing to do as well. I'll check out other grow diaries. Most of these strains have been grown loads of times by loads of different growers. So if you just check out other grow diaries, then you'll see what's been used for these strains previously. What does the breeder recommend? You know, when growing a specific cultivar, what does the seed bank recommend? What do other growers recommend? Because it's going to be different for each strain. You know, so check that shit out. Make sure you do some research on that. Yeah, I hope it helps. Yeah, man. Okay, now 12/12's good, you know. 12/12's cheap, you know. But yeah, for autos, 18/6. That's how I roll. And then we got another one, right? We got this question here, and if you have any questions, don't forget to put the Q in the chat, so I know you're asking me a question there. We got one here. How to use silica in organic growing and living soil, and it's not just that as well. You got it in on how to use it in salt based as well. And silica's one because people would tend to use, you know, their A and B with some PK boosters, maybe some root stim like Rhizotonic or something like that. But silica isn't something a lot of new growers at least use. It doesn't seem to be very prominent in a nutrient schedule, but it's very important. You know, it's not very important. You can be without it. But it's good to use. It helps the plant's immune system. It helps the strength of the cells and shit. So if you can, yeah, use some silica in the in your grow. What was the actual question? Should I use silica in a cannabis grow? Yeah, pretty simple like that. Yeah, and hydro setups, you're going to be using a synthetic version of it, really, you know, and this will help as well if you're using a lot of light. You know, if you got one of these high-powered LEDs, or if you're, like we were talking about in the last question there, where if you're using 24 hours of light, or you know, giving the plant shitloads of light, then using silica is going to help plant deal with that as well. Yeah, and it helps the stems get thicker. You know, it's better if the plant gets stressed, it can get over these stresses easier. Like, you know, improved drought stress. If you're going through summertime and there's too much heat, it will help you help the plants tolerate high heat as well. Helps keep the pests and disease away. Stronger root system. It does loads of things. You know, so it's good to just add a little bit of this to your grow if you can. You know, so in a hydro setup, say you're gonna go out, you're gonna buy a bottle of it, and there's a really good one called Buddha's Tree Solar Green. I think that's the one I used to use, and it wouldn't change the pH too much, and it wouldn't clash with the other nutrients too much either. So, and the way to use it, because if you add it while there's nutrients in the water, it can get all cloudy and just mix with the other nutrients and fuck things up, man. So it's always best to add it first, they say. So add it before the nutrients, give it a good stir, and then wait for a while, wait for an hour or two. Some people even like to wait 24 hours, you know, to make sure it's really dissolved and mixed into the water fully. And this is for your hydro setups, remember? All right, so you've found your silica that you're going to use, and you've added whichever dosage they want you to add, you know, which is usually just 1 to 2 milliliter per liter. It's not very much, you know, it's a small one. Check the label of whichever one you're using and add that, mix it up real good, adjust the pH if necessary, and then you can add the other nutrients after that. and obviously give it some time to break down as well. And yeah, just like any other nutrients too, start low. You start like half a milliliter per liter. Make sure the plant likes it. Make sure the plant gets on with it. And then if things are going well, then just bump it up a little bit. But you shouldn't exceed 2 milliliter per liter, really. That should be plenty for most plants. But do check the brand that you have chosen to use, and they might have some other guidelines. What brand? What was the brand? The one I used was Buddha's Tree Solar Green. It was something like that. I'm not sure if I'm getting the name exact, but it's something like that. But there's other brands. There's other brands of silica as well. So check out. If you're using advanced nutrients, for example, then there's probably a silica version that they have. There's probably the old timers nutrients. They probably have it. Just my brain's just slipping of GH hydroponics. I don't know. You know the ones. There's loads. There's loads of different. Dutch Pro, and they're probably going to have a type of silica. Canna's probably going to have a type of silica. So look specifically for, if you're using a specific brand, just try and stick with that to keep things simple. I didn't. I use Canna Nutrients, but I would use Buddha's Tree Solar Green for the silica just because it's so good. Just because it doesn't clash with the nutrients so much. It doesn't fuck the pH so much. Yeah, so and I liked using that, but it was expensive too. For like half a litre, you're paying 40 quid or something. It wasn't cheap. Yeah. Yeah, Canna doesn't have one. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Canna's not great like that, I find. They do a good A and B, but that's about it. Yeah, and Rhizotonic and the PK. So, they do some good stuff, but them other little things, them side nutrients, they're not really great at that. It's like a lot of people who use Canna would use a different CalMag from Vitalink or something, rather than using the CalMag agent that's made by Canna itself. Yeah. Yeah. No love for Canna Boost? No, mate. No, I have never used Canna Boost. I just find it's completely unnecessary. Yeah. But some people have used it and they get on with it. So, yeah, if you want to use Canna Boost, then use Canna Boost, man. But I just think, man, because it was expensive when I saw it. I was like, fuck that. Just A and B with PK 1314. If you can just roll with that, you'll be fine. But then you can add the extras if you want to, like the silica. And the plant will be better off for it, but it's not like you have to. You know what I mean? So with the silica thing here, start in early veg and continue through mid-flower. But as the flowers get a little bit bigger, just start tapering it off. Get rid of it, You don't need to use it in the late bits of flower there. It's already done its job. It's built a nice, happy, strong plant there. So, yeah, really easy to use. But right, when it comes to living soil, so things are a little bit different. You don't want to be using these chemical synthetic nutrients, do you? So you need to be finding other sources of silica. So and it needs to also, just like all of these organic nutrients, when you use it, it's not going to be straight away plant available. You need to have it break down in the soil by the microbes and shit, so then it does become plant available, which can take 2 to 3 weeks. Just gonna drink. Right, but yeah, there's loads of different ways you can find it. It's in quite a bit of stuff. When you're using these rice hulls, we said when you're mixing up your living soil, you can use rice hulls for that. About 20% of the rice hulls is made up of silica. Like the weight, if you use a kilo of rice hulls, for example, 200 grams of that kilogram should be silica. So, you can add that to your soil, and there's going to be silica being broken down consistently for a long period of time. That's going to be plant available. So that's why it's a good idea to use some rice hulls when you're mixing up your soil. Then you got like volcanic rock dust, and that provides silica and other minerals as well. And again, you should have added this to your soil when you were building it in the first place. Diatomaceous earth. Now, this is something, diatomaceous earth, right? It's something that people would like to use if they have a bug problem, especially fungus gnats, because this shit essentially is just loads of tiny, sharp, fossilized things, right? And you put it across the top of your soil if you've got fungus gnats, because the fungus gnats are going to be born in the soil and climb their way through the diatomaceous earth, and they're going to have their wings shred and their skins shred, and they can, if they find it difficult to survive when you're using this diatomaceous stuff, because that's why most people would use it. But you can mix that with your soil as well, because that's high in silica, but it takes a long time to release that. So for a long period of time, if you add that shit to your soil, you're looking at months, maybe even longer, of it breaking down over time and providing a consistent amount of silica to your soil as well. So diatomaceous earth is a good one. Horsetail tea, I don't know about that one, and comfrey tea as well. It's just it's natural silica forms, but you're going to use it as a foliar spray, drench the plant with that, and that's going to help. It offers more things as well, not just silica, but it will also give you like microbes and other trace elements as well. So give that one a shot. That's a way you can do it as well. There's lots of different ways. Even sand can be used, and it'll break down over time to add silica, apparently. And when you're building the soil, that's the best time to mix it in, because if you can get one of these like the diatomaceous earth there, but it's going to take a long time to break down. If you can add something like that, or rock dust, that's just going to break down over a long period of time, and that's going to be the best thing to do when you're building your soil. So that's the best way to add it. But if it's died off over time, then top dress it and water it in, and it'll take a few weeks before it becomes plant available. And when you're using like the horsetail tea and the comfrey tea there, that's going to be watered in, but it's still going to take some time for it to become plant available. But if you foliar spray it on your plant, then it'll be absorbed in the plant a little quicker. It doesn't have to get broken down to go into the root zone. So bear that in mind, right? Don't mix, because you'll find, right, if you're using the silica, especially in the hydro, and you add it with CalMag, then they quite often will clash, and you'll see what would happen. And you might have seen it with other nutrients. Is you're going to add it to the water, and then it's going to go cloudy, as if somebody's poured milk into it. Not a lot of milk. It's not going to go completely white, but it would be cloudy, as if somebody's added milk to the water, because all the nutrients are just combining together, and the silica combines with the CalMag, and it just becomes cloudy, and that will fuck the pH. It will mess with how the nutrients can be absorbed. So if you're going to use it along with CalMag, make sure that silica's gone in first, stirred up, and dissolved for a couple of hours at least. So just be careful with that. Try not to overuse it. As I say, to keep the dose low, but below 2 milliliters per liter. That's usually the height of what you want to be using. Half a milliliter up to a liter, you're looking good. You don't really need to go any more than that, because if you do use too much, it could have an effect on the nutrient uptake of other nutrients as well, especially CalMag. You got to be careful with that shit. And of course, don't foliar feed the plants with this horsetail tea and the comfrey tea, or even if you're using the synthetic version of the hydro soap, don't foliar feed plants late in flower. It's just a bad idea. You don't want to do that shit. I hope that's a good rundown there of how to use silica, because if you do use it, you will notice that your plants do look much happier and healthier. This is certain greenness they have when you're using silica. They're a lot more resistant to stress and bugs and diseases. It can absorb more light and use that light. Just a generally happier plant. Do you need it? Not necessarily, but it's good to have it, So just bear it in mind. If you don't use it, or if you haven't used it yet, give it a shot and see what you think of the difference. You will notice a difference. The plant will look much, much happier, Yeah, so I hope that helps there with the silica one. All right, we have another question here from Grumpas. He says, here's one, and not a hypothetical, because I want to figure out how doable this is. So Grumpas wants to get 10 regular seeds in a 3x3 under open pollination. How could that tent be safely opened without flooding your whole grow space, in my case essentially the whole house, with other projects going on with pollen? Just make sure you keep good negative pressure, but still, bro, it's risky, man. That pollen can fucking get anywhere. So essentially you want to be able to turn your fans off, like the fans inside your tent. You want to turn them off before you even get in there, because you open that door, the fans blowing, it's going to blow pollen straight out. You know what I mean? So you got to make sure that's turned off before you even open the fucking door to reduce it. But then if you keep a good negative pressure, then all the air is being drawn in and going through your carbon filter and out through your extractor and your vents. So if the negative pressure is strong enough, the pollen's not going to get out, but it'll still get out. It's ridiculous how easy that pollen will just move around. You know, so you'd want your other setup to be in another room. You'd need to make sure you wash your hands and even shower, change clothes if you were that concerned about it, because that pollen is designed by nature for millions of years to travel and go from one place to another. It'll find a way, man. It'll find a way. And when it comes to open pollination as well, of course it can be done. But the best thing to do really is you want to flower the males a couple of weeks before you're flowering the females, because you want them to be able to grow their pollen, and you know, them flowers will grow first and get good mature pollen, while and a couple of weeks later start the females, because then those flowers will start to form and you will have more pollen to pollinate onto the females. Doing it at the same time, I mean, it can be done. Of course it can be done. That's how nature does it. But for better results, you want to have the more pollen going onto the newer female flowers. And that means you should start the males just a couple of weeks earlier. You know, even a week's good enough, but, you know, a little sooner. Get the males on a head start. And if they're all in the same tent, under the same light, that's going to be a little bit difficult to do. But it'll be interesting to know why you would want to do it that way as well. I mean, using 10 regular seeds, I don't think it would be completely necessary. You would only need one. You know, if you could have one male and 9 females, then that one male would easily pollinate all of those 9 females, and then you get loads more. It's not like you need 5 males and 5 females to get a successful pollination. You know what I mean? You could just do it with one male, especially if it was a good male and it grew a shitload of pollen on it. You know, so bear that in mind too. Yeah. But so, you know, get fucking 20 seeds, grow them out, find the females nice and early. You know, keep a couple of the males as studs, and then fucking, yeah, pollinate the shit out of it. But if the females have got some flowers on to start with, then they're going to be able to grow more seeds. You know what I mean? That's going to help as well. Yeah, but nice question there, Grumpas. And of course, we want to see the thread over on Percys there. I want to see what's going on, man. We want to keep track of that grow too. So do we have any more questions in the chat there? Yeah, we stand on the shoulders of the giants, my good man. We do indeed. That was Isaac Newton who came up with that phrase. Did you know that? And it's on the side of the £2 coin here in the UK. You find it on some of the £2 coins. Good saying. Standing on the shoulders of the giants. Isaac Newton. Yeah. But that's exactly when we come to a lot of this stuff we're doing in cannabis. It's just stuff we've learned from people beforehand. Especially, you know, those guys who were around when it was illegal to do this kind of shit. You know? And they were still out there with their massive bollocks doing all this. Mm-hmm. Fuck off, it was Noel Gallagher. Are you serious, Hashishin? Are you serious? Fuck it. Good album, though. It wasn't one of their best. But yeah, it was a good album back in the day, Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. But no, it definitely wasn't Noel Gallagher, bro. And I hope you are joking when you say that, right? Jesus, bro. It's a bannable offence, that is. I'm offended by that. And we're in the UK, so, you know, you could be arrested for offensive things, like saying it was Noel Gallagher who said that. I mean, has Noel Gallagher ever really said anything that was prophetic in any way? You know? You know, I dig my friends, I dig my shoes. You know, it's good tune though. Magic Pie, Be Here Now, great album. I really used to like Oasis back in the day, but I grew out of it, really. Yeah. Yeah, he called his brother a knob. Who did Sledge? He did Sledge, Robert Williams. Yeah. Anyway, back to the cannabis questions. Any more questions there in the chat? Anybody? Have we got any more? We've still got another 10 minutes or so. If we can squeeze any more in. I think that's it. That's the ones we have from this side of things anyway. Because Margaret was supposed to be here. She brought some questions too, but she's not here to fucking do them, unfortunately. Or maybe she is. Maybe she's been sitting in Zoom for ages. I don't even know. No, she hasn't. No, just me. Just me, everybody. Yes, any more like something I wouldn't cheap out on? Yeah, for sure. This is something as well. That's where you want to spend the most amount of money is on your light, really. You see, I saw a 5X720W LED bar light and controller for 9999. Just seems too good to be true. Oh, five of them. You saw 5X. Yeah. That's a bit too cheap. Maxi Brights. I don't know, man. You need to check out Migro's channel for that. You know Shane from Migro? He does all these different videos and does proper tests with all of these lights on what's good, what's bad, and shit like that. So if you're looking at a new light and you want to know anything about them, and if it's not on his channel, then yeah, just don't buy it. He's done work with all the best. So, I mean, it's just so important, man. It's a big part of the grow is how important that light is. Yeah. Yeah, so be careful with it, man. You know, you don't want to spend the money and then realize it was just shit, dear. You know? Yeah. The Samsung diodes and Meanwhile drivers winning combo. Simple. If you can get those, HLG is where to go, man. HLG. You're going to pay a bit more. But when it comes to, you know, you get 5-year guarantee, you know you're getting the quality shit that's going to last. You know, you got high quality diodes, high quality drivers, high quality customer service. You know, it's going to be much more efficient, so you're wasting less energy on heat. You know, so many reasons why you should go with HLG. So many. You know, so definitely check them out. And if you can't afford them just yet, then go. You know, the Mars Hydro lights are good for starters. You know, the Spider Farmers, them guys, they're all right for starters. But you get that for now, and then in the future, upgrade. You know. Yeah, man. Well, I think that's everything. Doesn't look like there's any more questions in the chat. So I think with that, we can call it a day. And of course, if you have any questions for next week's listener mail, then let us know. Let us know over in percysgroom.com. Excuse me. Find us over on the Discord server as well. Yeah, man, drop your questions because we always like doing this. And we'll do another question. We'll do another listener mail special in another 40 episodes or so. But if there's any guides that you want us to cover that we haven't covered yet, that you think we should, also get in touch and let us know. All right? Yeah. Good session. It's unusual for it to be... Excuse me. It's unusual for it to be just me, you know, so I hope you've enjoyed this one. Just me and you this time around. Just me and you. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it's been informative. And of course, if you have any questions, you know where to find us. And we'll go to the outro. Let's do it. Jesus, that was hard work, man. That was hard work. You know what I mean? Was it difficult? I'm going to hit this Mighty. I'm going to turn the Mighty on. Fully charged. Got some delicious weed in it. What weed are you smoking? We didn't even ask, did we, in the chat there? Didn't even ask. But yeah, no, Mark says, thanks, Macky. No, man, thank you. Thank you, you guys. You know, you guys make it all worth it, man. You know, I just enjoy sitting here talking about cannabis on Sundays with you guys. And I don't know, if there was only 5 people watching, I probably still wouldn't be doing it. You know, I only do this because you guys are here. For real. I'm not even fucking faking it. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, man. This shit can be hard work. Time consuming. You know, and it takes up numerous hours of my week once this is done. And the only reason why I do it is because you guys enjoy it. And I appreciate you guys, man. I always like to try and make decent content for you guys to enjoy, you know, and I'm glad that you do. I appreciate you guys being here and spending your Sundays with us, you know. It's always good to do the show. I always enjoy it. Yeah, and it's just good that there are other people who do enjoy it. You know, I do have other YouTube channels with like no viewers, you know. But yeah, they're reasonably new. Maybe they'll build over time. You know, these music thing, this AI music, everybody, this Suno. Did you see And you know, it's the outro now. So I could do random tangents. It's okay. Do you see this this new Google 3 thing that they've released this week? This video software. It's got a specific name. I can't remember what it's called. But man, it's indistinguishable from actual video footage. remember like a year ago, 2 years ago, they were making Will Smith eating pizza, eating spaghetti. Do you remember that one? Remember that? Fucking hell. It was terrible compared to what they can do now. Unbelievable. It's absolutely incredible. And this is the thing with the music. It's like the music's okay. But, you know, it's got flaws here and there. If you put it on a good pair of speakers, you can hear that there's flaws in the background, but only small ones. It's nothing major. But another year, another 2 years, the music AI is going to be creating is going to be better than Kanye. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mean that, YouTube. Jesus. He's back on the scene, isn't he? Everybody see that? Funny. God damn. Let's not get controversial before the show finishes, you know? Yeah, so anyway, that's about it, everybody. I think we're going to call it a day. I hope Margaret's okay. I hope her internet gets back up and running. But she'll be okay anyway, because, you know, she likes to read books and shit. So at least she can keep herself entertained with that. Yeah. Yeah, man. But good show, everybody. Good show. And of course, as I said, if you have questions, you know where to send them. But with that, I think it's time to go to the end screen. It's been a pleasure, as always. Thanks again, everybody. Have a good week. Stay high, stay safe, and catch you Patreons on Friday for the Patreon session. Let's fucking go. See you on the next one, everybody. Goodbye. I was supposed to let music play. I didn't let music play. He said goodbye. Oh, is it already playing? Fuck. Was it already playing? I think it might have already been playing. God damn. God damn. Now we just got to wait for a little bit until it does play. Alright? Alright, just waiting. Yeah, I know I'm on the end screen. It's okay. It's okay, alright? Yeah, man. I get down. Yeah. Good times. There we go, everybody. The music's starting now. As I said, stay high, stay safe. Have a good week. We'll catch you on Friday. Goodbye.